Hey everybody, Tara Green here, and it is April the 23rd. It is the full moon in Scorpio, which is always the most intense full month of the whole year. There's only one full moon in Scorpio every year. Whoops, and this is it. So, as with all Scorpio things, it's always about going into the depths. It's a great time to do shadow work. The shadows are our own aspects of ourselves that we project onto and blame other people for, but they're really just parts of ourselves that we haven't integrated and accepted. So this is the time to do that work when the emotions are intensified. Now, Scorpio is actually the most soulful, the most emotional in some ways, all about death, rebirth, transformation. So your ego will not like it. You know, even people who have a lot of Scorpio energy, their egos are still there going, hey, I want to try and run the show, but that's never happening with Scorpio energy because it's really your soul, what you have unconsciously that's driving you. And that's what astrology is so great for, is to understand your soul purpose, your motivation, why you chose what you chose to work through, to understand it. And there's always new and more things to discover, and Scorpio likes to get to the bottom of things. So it's a great time to use your X-ray vision. I have Scorpio rising. You can always tell a Scorpio or Scorpio rising by their eyes, because when they turn on the juice, that's their superpower, is I can see what you're doing. I can see right through you. So that's why Scorpios are so intimidating, even if they're not operating at that. You know, Scorpios go through 3 levels of growth and awareness. So when Scorpios have that bad reputation for just using you when they need to, and then boom, don't need you anymore, you're gone, I never knew you, that's when they're at their lowest level survival method. I would say root chakra, Mars ruled, very much Mars ruled, survival, sexual energy level, right? Really basic level. And so when they're operating on that level, they're also fairly unconscious, right? So they think it's just survival of the fittest. But most people learn to rise above that and realize, well, I still feel all those feelings, like I want to be in control and I want to manipulate people because I want to get what I want. I want to be in power. They realize they can't do that because they're really just stinging themselves. So they learn to kind of rise above it, and then they become the eagle. And the eagle is known as the most spiritual of animals in indigenous wisdom. So they still feel all those feelings, and they always have a list. They never forget. They have long grudges, but they don't act on them, or they're waiting for karma. The 8th sign, the 8th house, is of course has to do with karma. So really there's nothing you have to do about it. You just have to trust that karma is going to balance itself out. And then Scorpions eventually rise above all of that and become the phoenix, who voluntarily burns themselves up, you know, sets fire to their own disasters and burns themselves up so they can be reborn. So remember to look at what phase Scorpio am I at, and in what levels, because it could be different depending on different things. You know, with exes, maybe you're always feeling like, rah, 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 rah. You know, I want to get even with them. I wish they would die. You know, all that stuff. Never hex anyone, because if you do, you're only bringing that negative energy back on yourself 9 times by true pagan law. Never mind all these whatever wannabe witches these days. So the moon is at 4 degrees of Scorpio. You can see it's right there. This chart is set for Washington, D.C. So the moon fulfills itself at 7:49 p.m. That's Eastern Daylight Time in Washington. So at that latitude, longitude, the moon is rising right on the ascendant. You can see exactly 4 degrees, connected to a star called Princeps, which is in the Bootes constellation. Bootes is a constellation a lot of channelers work from. So shake your booties. This is not really a complex chart. I have, I drew on extra aspects going on here, but basically it's pretty straightforward. Pluto, the modern ruler of Scorpio, is in a big T-square. So of course the sun and the moon are always opposite each other on a full moon. It is not a supermoon. It's called the pink moon though. And they square Pluto at 2 degrees of Aquarius. So fixed signs, you know, very tense, so you could find old power struggles coming up. So you want to look at, of course, where Scorpio is in your chart, where Taurus is in your chart, where the sun is, and also where Pluto is, where 2 degrees Aquarius is. So those fixed signs, all of those fixed signs, including 2 to 4 degrees Leo, I would say, are also being very strongly affected. And that would make it, if you have stuff in Scorpio, Taurus, Aquarius, and Leo, I would say 1 to 5 degrees. If you're born in the first 5 days of those signs, then you're in what's called a grand fixed cross. Okay, cross of matter. So the nice thing is there is a nice Earth trine from that infamous Jupiter-Uranus, very rare, once in a lifetime. This just happened a couple of days ago, Jupiter and Uranus coming together at 21 degrees of Taurus, trining Lilith, one of my favorite go-to goddesses, in Virgo, and Ceres, the Great Mother. So I've written about this on my blog at infinitynow.wordpress if you want to read about that, because that's highlights the breaking away from that old double standard split that women are either mothers or whores, which is a totally Christian made up thing. So that trine lends positive energy, right? So the square to Pluto, let's get back to the main event here. Pluto rules the unconscious, rules wealth, so there could be big financial issues. Scorpio rules wealth, finance, shared property, resources, taxes, inheritance. So any issues around that, you should make sure that you check out your finances, try to save up some money. I mean, Tauruses like to spend money on rich things, on indulging in their body, and so there's all that too. But Pluto in Aquarius is thinking about how to do it in a new way, how to manage finance, how to see the global situation in a new way. And of course, it is all about crypto, digital IDs. I mean, it's robotics, AI. It has a positive and also a breakaway, really breaking away to freedom to develop new societies, new bartering, new shared resources. Taurus is always about resources, the hands-on physical stuff, and Scorpio is the soul stuff. So you can see also all the planets are lined up in basically 3 signs. Saturn, Mars, and Mercury are all in a pretty tight conjunction there. They're only 12 degrees apart max. Mars and Neptune will come together in the next few days. That's a heavy one right at the end of the month. And then the North Node, Mercury, Chiron, and Venus are still all in Aries. And then the Sun and Uranus and Jupiter, of course, are together. So Pluto is the only outlier. The Moon is, of course, on the other side. The Moon, the fastest moving planet always. So this will be a very intense, very emotional full moon. Again, take account of how you're feeling emotionally. It could dredge up a lot of old, deep-held secrets, revelations, a lot of information in the news. Of course, with Pluto and Aquarius, issues about freedom of speech is going on. I mean, Elon Musk is again being like, they're trying to sue him or criminally charge him in Australia and Brazil and things like that because he's into free speech. I'm a big believer in free speech, so this is an area where you have to really dig into what does it mean to see both sides of the issue. Aquarius is a dual sign, like all air signs are. You have to have both sides representative to have any kind of open dialogue. And to go into the shadow period where you're trying to control, I don't want to know about that, I don't want to see about it, secrets, that's the downside of Scorpio. Really, Scorpio wants to dive in bravely and open up the treasure house of the 8th house. What's going on in the unconscious? Why are we so unconscious here? Why is there so much power and corruption and greed and money laundering and child trafficking and all that stuff that is, thank goodness, being revealed now by whistleblowers, which you will not see in the mainstream media. So Scorpio is all about being secretive. So those secrets are being brought out about financial stuff, of course, that's very literal. Scorpio, Taurus, and Pluto in the big corrupt corporations, the world, big pharma, the industrial and military complex. It's behind all of this stuff, warmongering that's going on in the world. Also, the asteroid goddesses are in nice supportive aspects here. Vesta, the root word of investments, is at 7 degrees of Cancer, and she is supporting Juno, my favorite goddess. I'm finishing a book on her. She's the feminine form of genius at 6 degrees of Virgo, and they are sextiling the moon in Scorpio. And also Athena, the goddess of wisdom and war strategies, at 6 degrees of Sag, squaring Juno, exactly. And they have Juno awards in Canada here, which is very nice. So you might want to look to those goddesses also for help, because they're quite strong in this very, Scorpio is a very feminine sign as well. Your dreams will be very, very intense, could be very sexual, could be the fear, the Nazis chasing you, the criminals chasing you in your dreams. You could die in your dreams. That's a good sign of rebirth. I do dream work, which is really important to do now with Saturn, Mars, Neptune, and Scorpio. If you want to get in touch with me for your own personal reading, I am at tarot.com, and I'd be very happy to help you through whatever it is you're going through. I have a degree in transformational psychotherapy as well. Okay, sending you many blessings for this intense Scorpio full moon. Are we done yet?